My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Arrival. And this review will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But I'll never forget the first time I watched this movie. I was on vacation in Los Angeles, and we got tickets for Universal Studios. And you can get like the early bird pass where you get there an hour before the park opens. So I was up bright and early, and I spent all day at Universal Studios, going on rides, watching shows, doing this and that, eating lots of food. It was fantastic. And to end it all off, I went to a late showing of Arrival at like 11:30, and at that time, the theater there had the nice leather seats, and like in 2016, that wasn't as common as it is now. So I sat down after a super long day at Universal, and I fell asleep within the first 5 minutes of the movie, and I woke up at the end where she's talking to the Chinese general. So I kind of got this movie spoiled for me because I missed it the entire first time I saw it. I saw it a few weeks later, loved it, and then it's a movie I've rewatched quite a bit since. I think it's an absolute brilliant movie, and I love how the story here exists in two different ways. I love this story of a woman who's trying to understand and communicate with aliens. I found it to be riveting and compelling, and just watching them make progress was very satisfying. Like, she introduces herself as Louise and Ian as Ian. So when Ian walks, they know that Ian is Ian, so they know the action of walking is walks. And I don't know, I just am so entertained by that. Despite the slow burn approach to this story, I was always engaged. And I love how the aliens and their presence has real weight as we hear about looting and rioting that's taking place. But the main mystery is, what are they doing here? And that is the external part of the story, but the internal part, underneath the surface, is a movie about the joys and pain that life brings us and embracing it. And how with joy comes pain. It is inevitable. So you shouldn't be afraid to live life. And like the story of Louise and her daughter and Ian who leaves them after he finds out what's going to happen, I just found to be so emotionally engaging. Like, you really feel the weight of all this. And the way they combine the external story with the internal story, I found to be very expertly told. I love how the movie begins and she's talking about the daughter that she lost, and how that actually takes place after this movie, and it's taking a non-linear approach. And when she reaches into the memories of the future, like when she's trying to figure out a non-sum game, I was just like, okay, this is great. And how you see that come into play with the Chinese general. I just feel like these two stories come together perfectly. And so much of your enjoyment on this movie depends on the internal movie logic and how much of it are you willing to buy. Because I feel like they explain the rules perfectly. Does it really make sense? Not overly, but in terms of the movie and its story, I buy into it. About how if you speak English, you think English thoughts. If you speak Chinese, you speak Chinese thoughts. So the fact that this language is non-linear, it has no beginning nor end, and how that can affect the way you think if you really start to understand it, I'm on board with it. I had a friend who I saw this movie with, and he hated it because he could not get behind that logic. And I get it, I just totally disagree. I think it's very smart and just, quite frankly, brilliant. So the fact that it's able to engage on an intellectual level as well as an emotional level just makes for some good storytelling. And I love how the purpose of the aliens is to give Louise this gift and how it helps her out. And with this one specific case, but it's also a burden in other ways. So just everything about this script really works for me, and I think it's brilliantly directed by Denis Villeneuve. The visuals are absolutely beautiful. Cinematography is top notch, it has a level of atmosphere with it, and I love how they enter the spaceship from the bottom, and as soon as they reach a certain height, the gravity just shifts. So anytime they're talking to the aliens, their back is to the ground, and I just love that visual. And there's one scene where the sea fall and the aliens push Louise back and she falls back, but then she's kind of still like floating there. It's just super cool. I love the score of this movie. It adds to the atmosphere. Johan Johnson did a really good job. And the addition of On the Nature of Daylight by Max Richter was really nice. And the sound also really elevates this movie, and the cast here is just doing incredible work. Amy Adams, I love her as an actress, and the fact she didn't get nominated for this movie is a joke. Like, I would have been okay if she won it. Like, she's not my personal pick for 2016. I would put Anna Taylor-Joy for The Rich or Emma Stone for La La Land above her, but man, she's really great here. She carries the movie incredibly well. She hits those emotional beats in a very nuanced manner. And I think she's just fantastic. Jeremy Renner does a good job here, and Forest Whitaker's also really good. And yeah, like this movie just fully works for me. I think you can engage on it on multiple levels, and there's something there intellectually, there's something there emotionally, and it's a very ambitious and out there movie that still is grounded in emotion and character. And I just thought the story that was being told was pitch perfect. It's a movie that works for me in just about every way, whether it's about aliens invading Earth and how we will react to that, and how we perceive time, and what it's trying to say about life and the joys and pain, and also about communication. It just tackles so much in such a cohesive manner. I love this movie. I'm giving Arrival a 9 out of 10. Okay, have you seen Arrival? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin, out.